everybody, welcome back. Happy Monday, happy Memorial Day weekend. And before we even get started, I just want to give a very, genuine and heartfelt thank you to all the veterans, active, retired, and no longer with us. A very, very huge thank you to your service and all that you've done to allow people like me to be able to sit here and be with you guys, on this Memorial Day. The timing actually works out perfectly because we have got History by Mail. The new unit from History by Mail is started. Last month we finished up the Native American unit, which was very, very informative, very interesting. A lot of information I did not know. But I have no clue what this month's unit is going to be, but we're going to find out together. What in the world? A little sticker in here. Oh, let's go. I got a little sticker. Is it a sticker? Yes, it is. Oh, sweet. I got a sticker. You know what? Sticker can go right there. I like that. All right, but we've got several different pages. Let's see. We have this is the document in question. See if we can figure it out before we look. Attorney General's Office, June the 10th, 1858. Okay, so maybe Civil War related. Sir, I fully concur. Okay, well, we're just going to look at it. Obviously, we're going to have a transcript. Yes, we do have the transcript right there. So we are going to just take a look at that. Again, beautiful handwriting for especially back in. Now I'm questioning, is that 1858 or 1838? I think 58. We're going to find out momentarily as we dig into the transcript, and then we're going to see what in the world we're dealing with. All right, so we have transcript. Transcript of notice of U.S. Attorney General letter regarding patent applications from slaves, June 10th, 1858. Interesting. Attorney General's Office, that was the one thing we saw, June 10th, 1858. Sir, I fully concur with the Commissioner of Patents in the opinion he has given on the application of W.O.J.E. Stewart of Mississippi. For the reasons given by the Commissioner, I think as he does, that a machine invented by a slave, though it be new and useful, cannot in the present state of the law be patented. I may add, if such a patent were issued to the master, it would not protect him in the courts against persons who might infringe it. Very respectfully yours, J.S. Black, and then the Honorable J. Thompson, Secretary of the Interior. This is something I'm completely unfamiliar with, but, as the letter said, where was it? The present state of the law, 1858, so, just on the dawn of the Civil War. All right, let us get in. U.S. Attorney General letter regarding patent applications from slaves. The enclosed letter was written by U.S. Attorney General Jeremiah S. Black to the Secretary of the Interior, Jacob Thompson. Black expresses his agreement with the opinion of the Commissioner of Patents, Joseph Hold, that a patent held by a slave would not hold up in court against patent infringement since slaves were not considered U.S. citizens. Oscar J.E. Stewart's patent. Okay, so that was the many initials we saw. Oscar J.E. Stewart was a Mississippi slave owner and lawyer who, in 1857, tried to patent an invention made by a slave named Ned, whom Stewart had inherited from his late wife. The double plow and scraper enabled a farmer with 2 horses to plow and scrape both sides of a cotton row simultaneously, work which normally would have taken 4 workers and 4 mules. Stewart first tried to patent the invention in Ned's name, but was denied. The Commission of Patents argued that since Ned was a slave, he could not execute the required oath claiming he was the inventor since he himself was considered property and not a U.S. citizen. Stewart tried to submit the patent again, this time in his own name. Stewart's own patent application was denied since he could not take the oath stating that he was the rightful inventor of the machine. He submitted a request for advice to the Secretary of the Interior, Jacob Thompson, who in turn passed the request to Attorney General Jeremiah Black. Black's response to Thompson is the enclosed document in which he concurs with the Patent Office's decision. Okay, so that was that very short thing that we saw before. The landmark Dred Scott versus Sanford Supreme Court justice was handed down just 3 months prior to the writing of the enclosed letter. The decision held that African Americans could not be citizens of the United States. By denying citizenship to African Americans, it allowed slaveholders to continue to claim ownership of the slaves. However, the Commissioner of Patents applied this logic to prevent slave owners from claiming the invention of their slaves who, since they were not considered citizens, could not take the patent oath reserved only for U.S. citizens. I did not know there was a patent oath, actually. Despite these rejections, Stewart continued to make his case. He wrote a letter to Mississippi Senator John Quitman in which he argued, and I quote, "I presume that no one could rationally doubt that in legal contemplation the master has the same right to the fruits of the labor of the intellect." I never understood what sick meant. Of his slave that he has to those of his hands. End quote. Just 10 days prior to the patent application, Attorney General Black had issued an opinion entitled Invention of a Slave, in which he concluded that neither a slave nor a slave owner could patent a slave's invention. Both slaveholders and abolitionists were against this ruling, but for opposing reasons. That's true. But in this is the case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Slaveholders wanted to profit from the intellect of their slaves, and abolitionists wanted slaves to be able to profit from their own inventions. Within a few years, the Civil War broke out, and the issue of intellectual property of slaves was resolved by the Reconstruction Amendments, which banned slavery and granted citizenship to former slaves. Despite being denied patent protection, Stewart began to produce the double plow and scraper machine, creating a factory in 1860. Stewart marketed the machine as the Stewart Double Plow and Double Scraper, an invention of a Negro slave, and it was well received with farmers. Interesting. I have never actually heard of this. The Davis family patent case. Jefferson Davis, the future president of the Confederate States, was a Mississippi senator before the Civil War. Jefferson's older brother Joseph owned a slave named Benjamin Montgomery. Montgomery was taught to read and write by the child of his former owner before being sold to the Davis family. Joseph Davis ran his Mississippi plantation of over 100 slaves with a cooperative mindset and provided better food, housing, and more freedom than other area slaveholders. Davis even allowed Montgomery to use his personal library. Montgomery taught himself how to survey land, repair levees, and run a steam gin. Interesting. Benjamin Montgomery was denied a patent in 1858 for an improved boat propeller that could more easily navigate shallow water by cutting at various angles. That's actually genius. The U.S. Attorney General's office denied Montgomery's patent since he was not a U.S. citizen. Both Joseph and Jefferson Davis then tried to patent Montgomery's propeller, but were denied for the same reason Stewart had been, since they were not the inventors. 4 years later, while establishing the Confederate Provisional Congress, Jefferson Davis added a statute allowing slaveholders to apply for patents for inventions created by their slaves. As a result, the Confederate patent law did not require the person filing the patent to take an oath swearing that they were the inventor or discoverer. The Confederacy opened a patent office which granted approximately 200 patents during the Civil War, although the details have been lost. I mean, I'll say this is, I was today years old before I ever even heard of this. Apparently, Davis felt it was a lost opportunity on the part of the U.S. government for neither slaveholder nor slave to be allowed to patent inventions of slaves. Joseph Davis held Montgomery in high regard and even sold him the plantation in 1866 in violation of Mississippi law forbidding property sales to African Americans. The law changed the subsequent year and the sale was finalized. Patents by freed slaves. While slaves were denied patent protection in the Union, freed slaves had a long history of patenting their inventions even before the Civil War. Thomas Jennings was the first African American patent holder in the United States. In 1821, Jennings received a patent for a dry cleaning technique. I really don't know much about the patent system as a whole, if I'm honest with you. Some African American inventors chose to profit from their inventions without going through the patent process, which included a $30 processing fee. Others chose to sell their inventions or partner with white businessmen since there was de facto racial discrimination in the patent approval process at the time, even though the patent application did not make mention of race. In the 1840s, Benjamin Bradley, an African-American slave who worked in the U.S. Naval Academy in Maryland, invented the steam engine. While Bradley was paid for his work, all but $5 per month went to his master. Bradley sold his invention and used the proceeds to purchase his freedom. Elijah McCoy was born free in Canada, then moved to the U.S. in 1847. McCoy held 57 U.S. patents, mostly for lubrication of steam engines. Wow. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, adopted in 1868 in the aftermath of the Civil War, granted citizenships to, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, end quote, and provided equal protection under the law to all U.S. citizens. These provisions enabled formerly enslaved people to become eligible to hold patents. The pace of patents filed by African Americans increased dramatically after the Civil War. Granville Woods, an African American electrical engineer, won a patent battle against Thomas Edison for a technique allowing trains to exchange telegrams with each other. That is a very interesting concept. Woods held more than 60 patents, including the third rail electric cable that powered electric streetcars and grooved wheels called trollers, for which trolleys are named after. George Washington Carver, who was also formerly enslaved, became an agricultural scientist and invented several hundred products from peanuts, sweet potatoes, and soybeans, as well as a method of crop rotation to improve agricultural yields. Subsequent generations of freed slaves also created more inventions, such as Garrett Morgan, inventor of the modern gas mask and traffic signals. This is incredibly fascinating. This is the first of 4 documents in our Patents and Inventions series. To learn more about the patents of slaves, visit right down there if you would like to. That is one that I, much like the previous 3, or 4, I should say, with the Native American history, it's something I dare say, woefully unfamiliar with. We'll just put that right up there, because I like looking at that logo. It's rather nice. But it's very fascinating. And this is something, and again, like I said in the middle of it, the patent system as a whole, I'm not overly familiar with, other than it kind of exists. I did not realize anything about, you have to swear an oath, this and that, but this is really fascinating. This is, and much like all of them, this is one that is going to come with a lot more research, because once I get something in my head, I'm going down a rabbit hole, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what else I can discover. So that was part 1. So the next 3 of them are going to be around inventions and patents. So I'm genuinely curious as to what the next 3 months will bring us for History by Mail. But that is going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I always enjoy these. So thank you so much. Let me know what you thought down below. Please continue to have a safe and enjoyable rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you all next time.